Hi everyone and welcome back. In this video I wanted to show you the spreadsheet that I use to help budget my finances. So you might have already seen something similar in my YouTube shorts, and so I wanted to create a longer form video just showing you how exactly I get it to work. So if you're ever been interested in Excel, or if you ever wanted help with making formulas, tables, things like that, or just wanted a nice way to manage things, then this video is for you. So kick back and let's get started. Alright, so the first step would be to get Excel opened up. So we open up Excel. I'm going to open up a blank workbook and we'll start from fresh. So this is what you see when you open up. So you want to start with first highlighting the areas that you want to use. So let's just say if I want my table to be, I want to go from A to H, let's say, and go down to about number 7. It's a nice small simple table there. So we highlight the area. Then we go insert and then we click table, and then it will then highlight the cells that we want to make the table from. Just click OK. You can also tick my table as headers as well, and there you go, and then it puts them in. So that's column 1, 2, 3, and then the goodness of it as well, it makes them into drop downs. So let's just say if this here is January, and then the next one February, March, April. So then with the drop down, so now you can see all of those, and if you wanted to take out April and just see the others, you can see them. And if you just wanted to, for example, just see January, you can see that. Alright, so then next we'll move on to actually showing the figures. So I'll keep these months here, and then this one you'll just be the month column. I'm not going to put that in, but you can just see it. So then let's say if this column here will be income. Actually, no, I will put these in. It just makes it a lot easier. So go month, then we go income, and then let's say this one is rent, and then this one is bills, this one is savings, this one is work. So when I say work, I mean transport, lunch, things like that. Transport, lunch, and then we'll put this one as family time, family/friends time. So this is the money that you put aside to spend on your friends and family. The last one will finally then be if you have a partner, some money to spend on your partner. If not, then you can just leave that one blank. And then we're gonna want another column just so that we can basically put the total in. So we just highlight the last one because we only just really need one more column, and then if we need any more, then we can always make another one, and just press that insert, and then it's table columns to the right. So now we've got our last column here, and then like I said, we'll call this one total. Actually we'll make another one, and then the last one, which comes after total, is your money. So basically how much you've got left to spend on yourself. So I'll just put own money. There you go. Alright, so that's our columns done, and then now we want to be able to put the figures in. So I'm just going to use just like any old figures. So let's say if your income is £2,500, let's say your rent is £1,000, and then bills. Now this is where it gets a bit interesting. So what you want to do here, so you don't put the full bill amount here, instead you do a breakdown of your bills. So we just put that separately, we don't need to put that as a table. So I'll just put bills, and then we'll just put whatever bills you have. So maybe water. My keyboard is quite loud as well, so you can probably hear the crank in the background as I'm typing. So we've got water, say that's £50, and then we've got gas, electric, let's say that's £100, and then we've got internet, let's say that's another £50, and so on. So I'll just put like other bills, let's say they come to a total of £150 as well. Actually, I'll just put 100. Okay, and then from here you then put total. put that right underneath, and then we'll just add all these up. So to add them up, we press formulas, and we go insert function, or actually we can just do an auto sum, to be fair. We just go sum, there you go. So then now with the sum, it's going to add all of these together, and then you just hit enter, and there's a total £300. Alright, and then this is what you then put here. So for here, you'd put equals, and then you'd click this total here, press enter. Alright, so from there we now have our totals. So we've got 300 there, and that means that if you change anything here, this is the reason why we did it like this. So let's say, I don't know, water's a bit more expensive 1 month, let's say £70, it now changes this figure over here, so it reflects the difference, or like it reflects a change here, and then it just makes it a lot easier if you wanted to change figures around or anything. Remember, because this is your budget report, and because we're doing it for each month, then at least it means that you can just try and make it as accurate as possible, and then you have less excuses when it comes to putting things into your savings, because then it's like, oh, if there's a change in a month, if you end up spending more on travel or whatever, then the table will reflect it because of how you've done it. So for the savings, we'll just put £300, because savings, they don't usually change each month. Sometimes you might put a little bit less into savings, but if you do, you can just manually just change it. So 1 month, let's say, actually you just save £250, and there you go. So £300, we'll just keep that for the time being. And then work, travel, kind of similar thing. Again, because this figure is just one figure really. The reason why we did it for the bills like that is because it's multiple different figures. But for work and travel, again, it's just one figure, unless you wanted to break it up with work and lunch. But otherwise, you can just put them together and then just say, you know, maybe in a month you spend £200. And then family and friends, let's say another £50 on them, and then partner, £100, let's say. Alright, so we have our figures. So we've got our income there, and we have all of our outgoings here. And then now we want to get the total. So now this is where it gets a bit interesting. So to get the total of all of these, because Excel doesn't have a proper your minus feature, so you can't sort of just be like, oh, let me just click sum and then just make one so that it minuses this from all of these. Instead, you have to basically build the formula yourself. So it's not too difficult to do. So what we'll do is we'll go equals here, and then we click on the income amount, and then we go minus, and then we open up the brackets. So remember how important brackets are in the order of a calculation. And then we click on rent, and then we now put plus. So you want to add these together. So plus bills, plus savings, plus work and transport, plus family and friends, plus partner. And then, oh, I don't need to put the plus at the end there. And then we close the bracket, hit enter, and there you go. So that's £550 left. So it's got the income amount, and then what it's done first is it's add all of these together, and then it's then got the total from those and then subtracted the income amount. So it's got the income and then subtracted what the total of these are in the order of BODMAS. And so that's how you calculate the main sort of feature of the table that you wanted to do. So it's the income and then minus all of those, and there you go. Alright, so now let's say if you wanted to put it in for February, then so you can just do a drop down here, then that will make the figures the same there. The same for rent as well, just pull that down. And then now for bills is a bit different. So because for the bills amount we pulled it from here, which summed up all of these. So to try and, so you can't just, for example, just press equals and then do that, because then it will then change the top figure. So it's not able to sort of pull both cells, pull the data from both, from one cell into separate cells like that. So if we just Control Z, just to go back. So instead, what we'd want to do is essentially we want to make so we just need to just separate them basically. So these figures will be for January, and then we can then grab figures for February. So let's say, so yes, this one's Jan, and then we can just copy and paste this. To be fair, copy, you just paste that there, and then we put total, and then again we then just do the sum. So we go formulas, insert function, sum, add up all of these, and then hit OK, and there you go. And then this one is now for February. So it might be like, oh, you know, can't we just originally just do that in the table anyway? Well, the reason why we're doing it out here is because if you wanted to change any of these figures separately, so let's say for January, halfway through the month, you found out that, oh, you know, the electric bill is going to be a little bit more expensive, or the internet comes out to be a bit more, maybe one of your other bills comes out to be a little bit more, then you can always just change it just for that month, and then it will just change it for this month. So then here we did the drop down before, but that won't completely work because it's tried to put it to this cell here, but our total isn't there. You can put your total there if you want, but then it's still going to mess it up, because then B19's here and then B20's here and so on, unless you move this and put it somewhere else, like maybe next to it, and then put the totals going down here. It's up to you how you want to do it, but basically, like, and this is the way that I do it. And then just again, just here, just hit equals, and instead just choose this cell, and that corrects all the figures, fixes everything again. And then we just put the rest of the figures in for February. So again, 300, let's say managed to save a bit more in February, because last month we had an extra £100. Travel again is £200, family again 50, and then finally partner 100. So we got 450 this time. But as you can see, it's now changed this figure up here, because now it's done the equals B22. So Excel will always try and just automatically just calculate the figures for you. So I think I'm not entirely too sure how to sort of change it so that it doesn't automatically calculate them. But what I've been doing, if you just put the equals January again, press enter, and then you'll get a drop down, or you get like an error here. And then with the drop down, you can just with the error here, you can just tell it to just ignore the error. And yeah, so if you just ignore error, then now that will stick with this one. So basically, when it comes up to you like the error messages, it doesn't mean that the formula is incorrect. Like I say, it might just mean that Excel is just trying to automatically calculate it for you, but you don't want it to do that. So because when that comes up, just press ignore error and then just carry on. So then now we managed to finally get this to sort of work how we want it to work. So now if we change the figures here, change this to 200, then only this one will change and not this one. This one still stays the same. And then if we changed this one to 100, then now this one changes, but not this one. So then now we can put March in. So again, the main issue that you'll have is just the bills, but everything else, because those are their own figures, they'll be fine. So the main I guess sort of fiddling that you'll have to do is just the bills. So I'll just quickly just do the bills for March, just so that we can see if this fixes. Oh, I haven't done the sum yet. Give me a minute. Let's do insert sum. Again, we just highlight these, press OK. There you go. Right, we've got 400 there, and then we go here, equals this one there. All right, so it's changed the ones underneath again, but like we said, we just go here, just ignore the error, and then we'll just keep just doing that for the rest of them. And this one's saying minus 400 because we haven't put any of the other figures in. If we just put the 2,500 in here, then, or to be fair, we can just pull this down. There you go, and then that's 2,100. So yeah, so that's the way that I've basically been creating the tables and been sort of going through them. It can be a little bit fiddly, but once you get it to work, so if you just do it for each month, just make the initial table, go from January all the way up to December for the year, make the initial table, and like I say, as you're going through each month, if anything changes, so if any of the bills change, or if any of the amounts change, savings change, whatever, maybe you've got some extra income coming in from a side hustle, you can put that as its own separate column. And then when it comes to the formula instead now, so let me show you that quickly actually. So if we just put that just here, go to the right, and then we just call this one side hustle. And let's say in March you managed to make £300 from that. So then what you'd want to do is, when you're making the formula for the total amount, so it would be a bit different for March. So instead of just income and then minus all of these, instead now we'll do income and then we'll do plus this amount here, and then I will then do those two. Oh, sorry, I put equals instead of plus, my bad. Take that out, make sure to put equals, plus. All right, and then we hit enter, and there you go, 2,400. So before this was 2,100, now it's 2,400. And then again we might get the error message, but we just ignore that. So long as like the figures add up, because it's not the most complicated of tables, so it's not going to break the table or break any of the formulas or anything like that if we're just ignoring the error messages. So long as the figures add up and as long as we can change them and it still works out, then that's what it matters. Like I say, it's not the most complicated of tables. We're not making pivot tables, and we're not sort of trying to calculate too much. So yeah, so that'd be just the main thing. So it's just income and then plus whatever's now in this column, and then again the rest of the formula is just the exact same. And that's basically how I make my tables. So hopefully that helps. I'll do a quick summary, just going over everything that I've talked about when it comes to the tables. So just doing a nice small summary so that you have it there. So if you didn't want to rewatch the whole video again, but you just wanted just a quick breakdown, I'll put that there. Alright, so first you're going to want to highlight where you want the table to be. And then click insert at the top and choose table. So insert, table, and then highlights all the formulas, press OK. After this, then label the table. So double check that the drop downs work as well. So again, like we did before, income, bills, total, etc. And then just make sure that the drop downs work. So as long as you can click on them and they're all there, then that's fine. And we input the figures. So 2,000 for income, and then bills. Remember, like what we said before, we then have the little table here that sort of goes through the bills. So bills, internet, 50, water, 20, and then we'll go gas / elec 50, and then we get the total. So we click on formulas, and then we go insert function, sum, highlight all these, press OK. There you go, done. All right. Yeah, and then we create the formulas, remembering BODMAS. So remember, when it comes to total, just make sure that you're clicking. Oh, I'll just do it quickly. So equals this one here, and then we go total, and then we go equals this minus, and then it'll be bills plus whatever. So bills plus, let's say this one, empty column, and then close brackets, enter, and there you go. And then we just test the table, making sure that we can change some figures around if need be. So if this one changed to 40, that all these other amounts change. So in the future, whenever we come back to the table, if ever we need to change anything, then we can change anything. So that's just a quick breakdown of what we've been through. And then, as I was saying before, when it comes to the months as well, when you wanted to put February, March, April, all that kind of stuff in, all the other figures should be okay. The only one that might be an issue is bills. But as we did before, just make another row here, another row here, or wherever you want to make them. But just make the bills table again. That's more sort of a key thing here again. And then just change, and then just equals this amount. When you get the error message, then you just sort of just change it. So just say ignore any error messages, And then as long as the figures work, as long as the table works, that's the main thing. It's not too complicated of a table, so ignoring the error message shouldn't mess up the table or break it in any way. And that is how I create the tables that I use to manage my finances. So I usually create these tables a couple of days before I get paid. So once my paycheck hits my account, I already know where my money's going, what is going on, and how much I have left for emergencies, savings, or for my own enjoyment. So it's very easy to get caught up in the act of managing your money that you forget to leave some money for yourself. With the narrative of save for your future, skip that coffee because those payments could fund a bigger, more useful purchase, don't go on that holiday and instead score your money away. It is very easy to forget that we are only human and that it is our nature to want to enjoy ourselves, to have some distraction, to do something fun and exciting. We forget that putting money aside for your own enjoyment each month is just as important as saving that money. So look at it like this: if you maybe want to buy a new laptop or phone, but it will cost you £700 and you don't have that money at the moment, that doesn't mean to take out a loan to pay for it, nor does it mean to just not get it at all. So let's say if after going through your finances, you have around £100 left for yourself each month and you're managing to save around £300 a month. If you currently have a working phone or laptop, then you just tell yourself you will save for the new thing. You might already have plans for your regular savings. Maybe you're building an emergency fund, or you are saving for a car or a house deposit, whatever it might be. Don't take all that money out and buy the laptop or phone, because you will run into the issue of making that the norm for yourself. And when that becomes a norm, now you'll be dipping into your savings each month and you'll never finish saving for what you want in the future. Instead, give yourself a goal. From your £100 that you have to yourself each month, take £50 out if you can and put that into savings. Yes, it means you cannot buy as much each month, but you're sacrificing that short-term spending for a long-term goal. You do that for 7 months, and if you're diligent with it, you now have £350 saved up. Now you've also been saving £300 a month as well. So at this point, you would now have £2,100 saved up. As a reward for being diligent over the last 7 months, you take out £350 from your £2,100, leaving you with £1,750. Now you have your £700 ready to spend on what it is you want, and it took 7 months, but you did it. The reason why I like doing it this way is because if you just use your regular savings, then yes, you could buy the item you want in just a couple months, but you now have to start your savings again from scratch after that. And it can set a precedent with yourself of using your long-term savings for short-term gain, meaning you'll never be able to build up those long-term savings. Instead, you might say, why don't you just build your savings normally and using that £50 a month and then buy the item once you reach £700? Well, this would be the better thing to do for your finances, but that means living on £50 a month of enjoyment monthly for the next 14 months. So I don't know about you, but that seems like agony, because you also have to wait 14 months to get your item, so over a year of saving for this one thing. And to remain that diligent for 14 months can be hard, which is why a lot of people would cave and just use their savings, putting you back into that option 1 category of now you have to start your savings again depending on how much you've used. Instead, by doing the option of combining your long-term and short-term savings, it reduces how long you have to wait, and it also gives you time to build up your long-term savings. So when you use some of it, it is not a massive hit. It still gives you a sense of accomplishment and teaches you money saving habits because you are diligent and patient for 7 months. And it helps you to remember that your money is your money. Yes, it is very important to not use your long-term savings on anything and everything, but there is something you are working hard to get, like a phone or laptop, that is a bit pricey, then it can be okay to use some of your savings while combining this with short-term savings. As your long-term savings don't take too much of a hit, for it doesn't put you too far back, and you're not punishing yourself saving for a long time for that item, when you can cut that time in half. The only thing with this method is you have to set a hard and firm goal. What this means is you say to yourself that I'm going to save half of the price of the item using my short-term savings, and then I can use my long-term savings to cover the other half, but only once I've saved that first half. For example, if it took you 9 months to save the £350, because things happen, maybe you ended up spending more on yourself 1 month, for example, but you have to stick to that goal amount. Now, everyone's case is different, and different savings methods work for different people. So I wouldn't say my preferred one is the best, I only bring it up as an alternative to the usual never touch your long-term savings money and just short-term save until you have the item. And that brings this video to an end. I hope you all enjoyed it and it helps you to manage your money better. What do you think about the spreadsheet? Is this something you would use? And the 50 to 50 savings method I mentioned, do you think this can help you stay on track without being too strict with yourself? Let's have a discussion in the comments. And with that, thanks for watching and have a good one. Let's keep chasing those side hustle dreams together.